Cool. I have never played a Mortician's Tale before. I don't know anything about it. I didn't read the store description. This is for Propagable Subblock. Gonna go ahead and boot the game up. I haven't even booted it, so I don't know if it's a controller game or a mouse and keyboard game, but I have both at the ready just in case. Headphones recommended. Okay. Looks like it's a mouse and keyboard game. Okay. Music volume, resolution. These. Email font size. Yeah, let's turn this stuff up. Helps with stream. Even do largest, and I turn it down if it's too much. Start new game. I like the look of the game. Point and click to move. Welcome to our new funeral director. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to meet you. My name's Matthew. The man who delivers the bodies to you. Hear that joke about a hearse driver? I'll tell it to you when I come by in a bit. Amy's a sweetheart, but she runs a tight ship. Take this opportunity to introduce our new funeral director, Charlotte, or Charlie. Charlie is a recent graduate who came highly recommended and is eager to begin her career here with us at Rose and Daughter's Funeral Home. Take this time to make Charlie feel at home within our little family. Instructions. You're new here. Find a cremation station, a cremulator station, an embalming station, your desk and computer area. Good luck, you beautiful and smart baby. From Jen Love. My subject line is you should start being more professional now that we're business professionals. Love you're able to end this gig straight after graduating. It sounds super cool. I didn't even know mom and pop funeral homes were a thing. Speaking of being a professional, my museum gig is amazing. Can't believe somebody paid me to move to London. And not London, Ontario, serial killer capital of Canada. Tell you more about it when we Skype. So her girlfriend works at a museum in England. That's cool. I signed you up for a Funerals Monthly newsletter. I kind of like that this game has a jovial tone about working at a funeral home, right? People could do better to have a more positive attitude about death. Hope you settled in okay so far. Matthew should have dropped off your first body for you to work on. He said you were really friendly. He's glad to have someone young and lively to work with. First body is Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman who died suddenly of a heart attack. Family asked for a closed casket funeral, so no embalming body preparation is necessary. Interesting. It's a neat way to up the difficulty over time. Although you won't be embalming Miss Garcia, it's important to take the time to clean her body. Do it out of respect for the deceased. Happily oblige your request for no embalming and for a closed casket. Okay, this is the forwarded email chain. Usually procedures that must be followed. Please don't embalm my mother. Okay, so I think I'm going to read these from the bottom up. It's confusing like Twitter. Each month we bring you a new newsletter featuring a topic pertaining to the death industry. It's all about good etiquette for attending a funeral. Can't believe we have to write this one out, but since we said we'll answer your most popular questions, here we are. Don't be a jerk. Don't be on your cell phone. Don't be loud and obnoxious. Don't get drunk. Happily reminisce. Give condolences. I will say the thing I don't like about funerals is the way that it preys on people when they're like at their most vulnerable. The industry of funerals, not like the process of burying people. Dress appropriately. Give a gift or sign the registration book. Rose and Daughters. Providing loved ones with the best and most affordable funeral services. Oof. This is what I'm talking about when I say yuck. $5,985 for a burial with open casket ceremony and reception. Just the most affordable. Direct cremation, no ceremony or reception. Big Lebowski. This is our most modestly priced receptacle. You guys got a Ralph's around here? Rose and Daughters was founded by my grandparents in 1956. Rose family has proudly served the area since then. Proud to have carried on my family's business for the last 36 years. Cool. Okay. Wait, there's another one? Oh, I gotta reply. Okay. I like how the color of this changes. You can see that this is your next task to do. Prep room will go prepare bodies for burials and viewings. Because the family's requested a closed casket ceremony with no embalming. You're just going to clean the body. Look on the sponge. That's fair. Hey, Johan. Miss Garcia will be sent to Mike, who will take care of dressing and put her in the casket. Time to go to the funeral. Take care of the body. Pay your respects to their loved ones. I do like the use of yellow to mean here's the thing that progresses the story. Family said no embalming. I thought it was mandatory, like required by law, but I guess not. Embalming weirds me out. I think the text is outside of these because of the font setting that I selected, so it's easier to read on stream. Pour the leftover formaldehyde down the drain. Embalming guarantees you won't be buried alive. It's always cold in funeral homes. We don't small talk a lot at these things. Is that what I was so okay, that makes sense. She would have hated these paintings. At least she doesn't have to see them. That's right. Press F. It's nice. Colleague and I were discussing Tight Lacer's liver specimen we have here at the museum. A woman who died in 1907. Liver's tapered inwards from what the doctor laid in the autopsy believed. It was too tight lacing on her corset. Okay, so my girlfriend probably went to medical school with me. Tight lacing was super popular, and what people associated with it fainting or hysteria, big sigh, agree. Think about the etymology of the word hysteria. And associated with visceroptosis, which is when the organs fall to the lower part of the abdomen. Yikes. Super unsettling. Can also be caused by being pregnant. Of course, it's probably messed up some bones. Didn't do this kind of internal organ damage. So tired of hearing strangers, colleagues, or anybody get my case for wearing corsets. Worried you're damaging your body. You know what corsets do to livers, right? Corsets don't do anything to livers. Okay. Yeah, I really need to read these from the bottom up. Oh, thanks, Kami. That's right. I'll probably still go if Burner's here, since it's Burner's subblock. Maybe internet will come back in time. Here are the instructions for your next body. Family was very happy. Mr. Duvall, elderly man, died of old age. Standard funeral with embalming. Reach out to Lizzie if you have questions. Wear proper embalming gear. Formaldehyde is extremely dangerous. Come back and answer it in a second. Pass along our deepest thanks to you. It was really lovely. Kind of you to let us bring our own food in. Oh, that's nice. Story about death. Driving the other day, taking our clients on the last trip around town, and I was thinking, strange, I know. Did I ever tell you the first time I went to a funeral? As a teenager, a friend of mine was killed in a car accident. Tragic stuff. We got our best suits, packed ourselves into a few cars. Clown cars. The procession going to the cemetery, someone in our car got a phone call from a friend in a different car. Oh gosh. Some asshat driver doesn't know not to get in the way of a procession, drove through the intersection and smashed straight into our friend's car. Nobody was hurt. My friends who got the phone call started laughing our ass off. You don't know if they're really crying or if they've gone fully off the deep end. There's no moral and no point to that story, I guess. I remembered the story and wanted to tell you. We work with death all the time, and I still sometimes get caught off guard by what that actually means. Yeah, I hear that, Kaimam. We know everyone wants to be respectful at funerals. Don't talk loudly, be kind, smile, and refrain from making inappropriate jokes. Oh, this is from Funerals Monthly. Big part of that is knowing what to wear. Roman Catholic funerals tend to lean more to the formal black attire rule, and it works for us. It goes back to the days of the Roman Empire. Black isn't universally the symbol for mourning. If you're attending a funeral from a culture that's not your own, it's important to understand this. Hinduism and in Chinese cultures, white is a typical color for funerals. For Islam, it's less about color and more about dressing modestly. For Sikh funerals, color of the clothing isn't as important. Dressing modestly and being able to appropriately sit cross-legged. Being respectful is the number one rule for any funeral, no matter what. It's fair. I do like that this is just like fun funeral trivia. Get right on it. Hey, she's got her safety gear on. Burials require embalming, which preserves the body and prevents it from decomposing, which is strange to me, but okay. Unless the family requests otherwise, all traditional burials will use embalming. Nice ring. There might be a 100 SP one that is the same exchange rate. I think that's good. With the razor and shave the body. In order to break rigor mortis, you'll have to massage the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. The eyeballs deflate once the body starts decomposing. Drag an eye cap into each eye socket to give it shape. Oh, interesting. Didn't know that was a thing. To keep the eyes shut, you'll need to glue them. Yeah, I like how this is just routine, right? The mouth sags and hollows once the body starts decomposing. Drag a cotton ball into the mouth to give it shape. To keep the mouth from opening, you'll need to suture it shut. I didn't know they sutured the mouth shut. That's interesting. Drag lotion over the body to moisturize it. Keeps the skin from drying. Embalming involves removing blood, placing it with preserving chemicals. Look and drag the scalpel over the neck to make an incision. Need a tube for draining the blood. Click on the tube and drag it to the incision. Connect the embalming machine to the cannula. Grab additional tubing. Turn on the embalming system. Massage the chemicals through the body. Sorry to hear that, Mega Man. Hopefully it'll come back. No worries if not. Sew up the incision. Drag the needle and thread. Drain the organs of any remaining fluids. Trocar. Mike will take care of Mr. Duvall's makeup as well as dressing and putting him in his casket. Time to attend the funeral. Yeah, I guess the idea of an open casket funeral is odd to me. Like, I'll do the Always Sunny in Philadelphia joke of just like throw my body in the trash. Like, I'm so not connected to my physical form. The minute you're laughing, having fun, the next poof, that person's gone. So strange not seeing most people wearing white. It's different for different family members. He always wanted to take his grandkids to the park to play catch. He loved playing catch. Kids over here playing on the DS. Like the pay respects button. It's cool. I think because it's presenting it as routine. Trauma Center is very dramatic on purpose. But this is the reality, right? I would prefer this to Trauma Center. Today's funeral is for a woman who died from breast cancer. Standard cremation. Passing on this lovely thank you note. He wasn't always an easy man to get along with. Glad to have seen him off in such a kind way. My girlfriend. Dating site that's specifically for people working in the death industry. You haven't mentioned anybody here since the breakup of 2014. Maybe she's not my girlfriend. Or maybe they're poly. Get tired of people being scared to ask about your day. Maybe meeting somebody in the industry isn't the worst idea. Now you look like a babe with pale skin and witchy gothy aesthetics, and I'm super hot right now. Vitamin D is still a good thing. Oh wait, is this my mom? Well, that changes things. Or I guess it's her mom rant. Best friend. Okay, got it. Sign up for Dead Meat. Your rules apply. You have to like me if you come across my profile. Not sure how it works. Sure, I assume that was possible, but... Been with us for a few months. Oh, let's go all the way down. Embarrassing, I miscalculated some of our income and I don't have enough to pay you this week. Could I cut you a check for next week? If you need the money urgently, please let me know. I feel terrible about the whole thing. I feel terrible and can cut you a check from my personal account. No, they can't compete with the bigger guys. Don't tell Amy I sent this to you. And beef and cheddar. LGBTQ funerals, respect. Heard about the misgendering that transgender people are at times subjected to during their funerals. But notable situations where trans women have had their wishes overruled by their families, had their hair cut, buried under the wrong names, and subjected to the wrong pronouns. Oh, gross. Believe in treating every person with the same level of compassion, respect, and care. Funeral Director's Handbook on Death Registration and Fetal Death Reporting offers the fraught directive. Enter male or female based on observation. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols. If sex cannot be determined, enter unknown. Do not leave this item blank. Huh. Leaving it up to observation enters into a world of issues since bodies can be so different because of ingrained bias. California passed what is known as the Respect After Death Act. States the death certificate must reflect the deceased's gender identity as they lived it. Good for California. People who are trans deserve the same respect in death that people who are cisgender receive. Misgendering in death takes away this respect. What can we do as funeral directors? Listen to the people who come into your office. In America, some marriages may not be recognized as legal, depending on the laws around same-sex marriage. Doesn't mean you're not dealing with two people who loved each other in the same way as another couple. Yeah, I feel like this is one of the most compelling things for my Christian family members that, came around to supporting gay people very late. The idea that, like, you might not be able to make a decision for your husband or wife because you're gay when they're, like, dying. That's pretty visceral and awful. Yeah, I dig it too, Kai Mom. It's death positive. Right? Cremation. You repair her body. Mrs. Hall's family brought clothing and jewelry. Remove these before the cremation process so as not to damage them. Drag the necklace to the tray. Drag the round identification tag. They actually burn people in a coffin? That seems surprising. Yeah, I could see that prop. I mean, you don't subscribe to a newsletter that's just lots of LGBTQ and trans positive video games? This is the cremulator. Contrary to popular belief, cremation doesn't turn bodies into ash so much as bone fragments. Using the cremulator will break those bone fragments down into ash-like remains. Oh, I guess that makes sense. I never considered that. Click on the urn, drag it to the cremulator under the nozzle. Drag the bone fragments and drop them to the top of the cremulator. I love there's physics. That's pretty great. Drag the urn back to the counter. Mrs. Hall's necklace back into the urn. Put on the urn's lid. Amy will take it to the funeral parlor, present it alongside some flowers. This is nice. Crab cakes are perfect. Thought she was cremated, not in like an open casket or something. Do you like how everyone has different grieving in here? That's a nice touch. Never gave up, not once. She would have hated this music. She never wanted her funeral to be sad. Definitely seen people misbehave at a funeral. I think I mentioned how former governor of Maine, Paul LePage, hit on Andrea at her grandfather's funeral while she was standing up for the wake. Oh, what's this? Minesweeper? That's kind of cool. Bears repeating. There's a, if you want to see more about Paul LePage, there's a Last Week Tonight episode about him entitled, How Did This Person Get Elected, or something like that. Very heavy heart. I write to let you all know that Rose and Daughters will no longer be in business. Oh no, that's sad. Be direct but remorseful, Google said. Since my father passed away, I've done my best to make Rose and Daughters warm and friendly to anyone who chose to use our services. So my memorial to him, the original Rose, have all become like family, including Charlie. What a sweet lady. Rent's going up in the neighborhood. I'm finding less and less like I have the energy for the business. Competition from other funeral homes, larger corporations, of course. So we've been bought or I sold. Hillside Heritage Enterprises, a company that owns many funeral homes in the city and across the country, will replace Rose and Daughters starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name. They're keeping the name for tax purposes. Trying to keep up the image that it's a family-run business. My father's legacy is intact somewhere. It's interesting. I'm going to see how things change once the corporation takes over, right? Didn't have the heart to tell you this in person. Another thank you note. Well, this email might be a bit odd. He said if I was ever having trouble, I should reach out. I don't know what to do. I know my grandmother lived a full, good life and was very happy. She's not in any pain now, but I feel empty. Never felt empty before. What am I supposed to do now? I thought I was stronger than this. Can you refer to me as someone to talk to? I thought I would forward this to you. In situations like this, we connect people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can help him. Sometimes we get emails like this and people don't know where else to turn. It's a nice touch. I think this game, how would you classify it? It's like, it's interesting because it's calling attention to like a real profession that I don't think that, you know, our media spends a lot of time realistically examining. Like, what is it like to have a day in the life of a mortician, or people that work at a funeral home? Like, I think it's really easy to have this weird media warped idea of what a funeral home director is or a gravedigger and forget that they're just people, right? Playing a new game. It's called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. It's like a Minesweeper, but way harder. You gotta avoid graves so you don't disturb the adorable ghosts. The main character looks like you. Keep on protecting Earth with green burials. I continue supporting the environment even in death. Natural cemeteries are becoming popular. Bodies aren't allowed to be involved with chemicals. I'll opt into that. Bodies must be buried in a biodegradable shroud. I'll take the shroud, please. Better for the environment and cheaper. Oh, it's still $1,000 though. Ugh. Throw me in the trash. Throw me in the ocean. Actually, I'm gonna donate to science. I think that's the way to go. Be the least useless. Funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Oh, interesting. Any special instructions you wanted to pass along? Cremate my father. He has a pacemaker. Doctor told me that would need to be removed. Please see the note below about the pacemaker. They can be tricky. I'll take care of it. That's why all folks should have wills. Very good, Leon. Should do that. Hey, Spacemaker. Nice. Mr. Reyes came directly from the hospital. We don't have to worry about removing any valuables. Yes, a pacemaker we need to remove before cremation. Because pacemakers are batteries, they'll explode inside the hot heat of the cremation machine. Nice. Mr. Reyes is all set to be cremated. Funeral folder is a smart idea. You use the cremulator. I love the cremulator has like it's like an ice machine with human remains. Lid on the urn. Amy will take the urn to the parlor and present it alongside some flowers. The coins in your eyes, yeah. I wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never seemed like he cared if I was there or not. You ever end up cleaning the air with your father? What do you want to do after this? Change to go find a patio somewhere. I always told him to quit smoking. That's smart, Leon. Valentine's Day. Thank you for the service the other month. I apologize if I was abrupt. It's a shock for me. I wasn't supposed to die yet. Mushrooms. You hate mushrooms so much, I found the perfect thing for you. I want a mushroom suit. It's not called that, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm writing you on my phone, so I don't feel like Googling it. Biodegradable suit that the deceased wears. It's made with a biomix. Mushrooms and other microorganisms help to decompose bodies. Oh, that's cool. That was the other thing I was thinking of. If not, like, give my body to science, like, at least make me worm food or plant food or ocean food or something. It'll be just like Hannibal. Don't tell people I said that, okay? I love all the death innovation happening. Might as well do something when we're in the ground, you know? Rarely do listicles. Things to avoid saying at a funeral. Figuring out the right thing to say to a grieving friend can be difficult. It's hard to give specific advice. A little bit more solid advice of what not to say. At least they're no longer suffering. Even if this is true, nobody wants to hear this. It's probably not your place to dictate. Who wants to be told that the death of somebody they love is for the best? Were they saved? No. Absolutely no. Under no circumstances. It's one of those questions where, like, if the answer is yes, then nothing has changed. But if if there's anything other than absolutely yes, yeah. With the angels now, do a sky burial. Let me know how I can help. You want to help, but those in the morning won't always ask for help. If you want to help, suggest specific things, like I'm free if you need someone to babysit the kids. Actions are better than passive statements. And know how you feel. Even if you think you do, everyone grieves differently. Don't say stuff just for the sake of saying stuff. Just say I'm sorry if you don't know what else to say. Oh, it's a choice. Oh, disregard our son's will as it concerns matters of his burial. He wasn't thinking right and didn't know what he really wanted. Proceed with an open casket funeral. So hoping he wouldn't have to confront this situation yet, Rose and daughters have been asked to prepare the body of a young man who took his own life. He had a will prepared and asked for cremation, but the family has demanded a traditional burial. He didn't make anyone his power of attorney and didn't have any witnesses sign his living will. So his body is legally in the right, or his family is legally in the right to do whatever they want with his body. Matthew has graciously offered to take this one on if you're uncomfortable with the subject. Instead, we have a second body you can prepare for a funeral we're hosting later in the afternoon. Is the suicide something you're comfortable dealing with? I mean, I'm not comfortable, but I also feel like, what do you do in that case? You can't just not conduct the funeral, right? I guess you could turn them away and say, we're not going to have your business here. I'm not comfortable. Open casket. Break rigor mortis. Insert eye caps. Glue the eyes shut. Put cotton balls in the mouth. Sew the jaw shut. Moisturize the body. I don't know which part of this is the cursor. I think it's this top left thingy. Just make a big mess of it to make sure it gets done. Make an incision in the neck. Tubing. Connect to the embalming machine. Turn on the machine. I read The Sandman in high school, I think. I don't remember very much from it. What does it have to say about morticians? So one of the main characters' dream. Okay, see a burner. So the incision closed. Trocar to drain the organs. Mike will take care of putting her in the casket. It's cool. sure that was fun for Gaiman to research. No longer suffering. She's in a better place now. She was too good for this world. Okay. Thanks, Aunt Sandy. How was Anna crying and not me? I'm the one who lost a parent. Where's Maria? She couldn't be here. She didn't want to see her mother's body. Doesn't look like her at all. Because she's always like doing something when the email pops up. Pleased to bring on Rose and Daughters as part of Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. There'll be another institution among hundreds of other properties owned across the country. A number of changes that will come to Rose and Daughters. We'll send out the memo regarding the specifics and details of the changes. Expect them to be followed impeccably. Oh boy, Chad Grant. Great. This happened recently with the bank that our friend Donovan works at in Los Alamos. Got bought out by a national bank, and it was super gross. They offer many packages fitted to suit every size of gathering and budget. I love how now they don't have the prices listed like she did, the previous owner. Bronze funeral. Intimate gathering and memorial for your loved one. Customized to fit your individual needs. Best suited for groups of 25 to 50. Subject to additional fees and taxes. Gold funeral package. Give your loved one the best we have to offer. Payment plans available. I love that they don't have the prices listed. It's very accurate. Newest funeral home to join Hillside Heritage. Proudly serving 56 different communities nationwide since 1964. What the hell? I know how corporations run. I wouldn't be surprised if they're monitoring our emails. Good that Amy didn't have much of a choice. Can only fight a huge corporation taking all your business for so long. This isn't 6 feet under. Swooped in, now we have to deal with their BS practices. They're colder than the corpse I picked up from the morgue this morning. Who charges this much for funerals? It feels dirty and exploitive. Get a drink after work? From Death Cafe. Come increase awareness of death with the view to helping people make the most of their finite lives. Have tea and cake and talk with others about thoughts, fears, and illuminations on death. When people talk about death and dying, it tends to illustrate their humanity. It's poignant. Yeah. Payment plans available is extremely sinister. I don't hear it as beneficial at all. Like, growing up poor, whenever someone described having a payment plan, that just meant we know that you can't afford this, and we're going to charge you interest for the privilege of getting it anyway because we know you need it. Can't write much right now. A lot of work I have to do with the hernia from 1750. You can see this bit of paper the surgeon put in after removing the hernia. Super cool. What is my life? What is that sentence I just typed? Should send this to Chaos Factory. He works at the coroner's office in Colorado. Interested to see his take on this. It's a death positive people there. Sounds like it'll be a safe space. Different funeral traditions. Funeral rites may be something many of us may be unfamiliar with. All we know of funeral traditions are what we've seen in the media. Not the same across the board. Cultures have different protocols for cleaning the body, different paths for dealing with death from religion. Offer support support guidance and ease of the people who are grieving. In Judaism, interment begins immediately after someone has passed. Up until burial, the body's never supposed to be alone. Families will appoint a shomer or guardian to remain with the body. Judaism, especially like ultra orthodox Judaism, cracks me up because it's a lot of little tricks to get around whatever the stated rules are. Like God doesn't know any better. My favorite one, there's a word for it. Someone could probably find it on Wikipedia if you look up the Jewish Orthodox wire thing. But there's this rule about not working on the Sabbath, right? You're allowed to do some minor things as long as it's within your community. And the Orthodox community will string this like special wire across buildings in order to increase the effective size of the community or the place where they live, so that they can get away with doing slightly more work on the Sabbath. It cracks me up. I love it. Preparations for burial begin as soon as possible in Muslim traditions as well. Islamic community organizations are often involved. Help the family make arrangements for the funeral service and burial. Not all practices are strictly religiously focused. In the aughts in South Korea, the amount of graveyard space began to shrink drastically, really, causing a law to be passed that required families to remove a loved one's body from its burial place after 60 years. Families began to cremate more often. People that compress remains into beads. North America, Europe, and Japan. Not all practices are somber. Turning of the bones is a ritual by the people of Madagascar. Families return to an ancestral crypt, exhume the bodies wrapped in cloth before dancing with the bodies to lively music. The practice is a celebration, a way of keeping the deceased involved in family news. Huh. Right, now we've got a cremation order from the CEO. Thank you, Mr. Grant, for agreeing to take care of Jocelyn's cremation. The bike accident was, well, more than I was expecting. Here are the details for the next client. Ensure you follow the requested specifications exactly. After you are done, I will review your work in order to properly evaluate you at the end of the month. Get right to it. Move the watch. Get the urn. The bones on top of the cremulator. It's like Trauma Center, but it's you're a mortician. Place the urn back on the counter, put the watch in the urn. The lid back on top of the urn. Should we do a vigil at the spot? Careless drivers, I swear to God. You know, this just occurred to me that I feel like a story like this works really well as a one-shot $5 video game. And this game isn't like Papers, Please, but games that are about focusing on a kind of routine, borderline dull process that's a part of real life, like processing passports, right? Or embalming people. That you couldn't make that a TV show. You could make it an episode of a TV show, maybe, but it wouldn't work as well in that medium. I think putting the player in charge of actually having to, like, you know, do all the steps of putting in the eye caps and, like, making the incision and sewing the mouth shut, like, I think it's more likely to have an impact on a person in a way that a movie wouldn't be able to get away with. You couldn't make a 90-minute movie that's about routine, you know? I wanted to ask Leah. I haven't wanted to ask Leah. She can deal with the death of a partner all by themselves. So intimate. Right, only showing the process once doesn't really get across like what it might actually be like. I've lost it seeing her body. I've seen a little bit of how it's made. Like, I wouldn't call it exciting, but it's definitely very tonally different from this too. Let's see. Jeez. Rules and code of conduct. Here are the new rules. There's a uniform and strict dress code. No tattoos are to be visible. If you have visible tattoos, ensure they're properly covered. Consider the opportunity to upsell. Ugh. I find it encouraging loved ones to think of the comfort and style of the deceased as an experience with no price limit on it. Actually gonna throw up. Food can no longer be brought in. I like how they've set this up with the first few missions being with Amy Rose, the private owner. Partner catering concept provides high quality food delivered weekly from their factory. It can easily be defrosted the morning of the funeral. They're going hard on this shit. Expect all the above changes to be instituted effective immediately to ensure a smooth transition. Oh, what was the email? I need a drink. Beer after work? I'm glad they're addressing that. Future requests on behalf of potential family inquiring if we at Hillside Enterprises can and will perform green burials. Should have informed you this at the beginning. We do not perform green funerals as they are not cost effective. We don't want to lose customers. Try your hardest to convince families requesting green burials to instead choose a traditional burial package. I trust you will ensure we do not lose any customers. So I think they made Chad a little pretty on the nose, but it's important to demonstrate the point. Like, whether someone comes out and says this is going to be the policy regardless, right? Like, all of these policies are very real from the corporate funeral industry. Just saw a video of a gorilla walking on its hind legs. Like a human being, Charlie. We as a species have seen the beginning of our end. Instead of Charlie, yeah. Well, the thing with Chad is, like, everything that could be bad is bad, especially in the context. As soon as we got the letter from Amy that was saying a corporation's taking over, I'm like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with this. I can see what the emails are going to look like. Appeal of a home funeral is apparent for many. The idea of keeping them at home until they get ready to be buried or cremated can be comforting. Wasn't that long ago we were taking care of our own deceased. Nowadays people are quick to pass off their loved ones to a funeral home. Funeral homes almost always prepare the deceased using embalming and other methods to make them appear more alive. Isn't this counterintuitive to the grieving process? Yeah, right? Completely agree. Being around the deceased allows the bereaved to spend a longer period of time with their loved one's body, which can help them mourn or give opportunities to family members to see the deceased one last time. The idea of keeping the deceased body at home might sound gross, but it's important to understand that decomposition takes a long time. You can slow the process by keeping your home cool and dry. Home funerals aren't just more intimate, they're economical. Traditional funeral can cost $7,000 to $10,000, again, gross. You're able to take care of your loved one yourself, to wash and dress them, organize their viewing from home. The only cost remaining is entirely in the cremation or burial itself. Different rules apply based on the state you live in. In all states, it's legal to have your loved one's body at home after they die. States like Alabama, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Nebraska, New Jersey, and New York require a funeral director's involvement. Really? This is a route you decide to go for yourself or your loved one. Make sure you follow everything by the book. Yeah. Maxed out bad. Hillside Heritage Enterprises Inc. received a contract with the city to dispose of unclaimed bodies. This is an important revenue stream for us, as I'm sure I don't need to explain to you, Charlotte. First unclaimed body will be handling, belongs to a middle-aged man, possibly homeless. No special preparations are needed, aside from cremation. I love, for this cadaver, right? It's not a human being. Poor real-life chats. He doesn't seem to have any valuables on him that will be damaged during cremation. She has a pacemaker or something, right? It explodes. That would be a great, like, setup. Since they already established. But no one's gonna be there, right? Because it's an unknown homeless person. April 9th. Yeah, even though no one else is there, it's a good choice. Thrilled to announce Hillside Heritage Enterprise Inc.'s subsidiary Rose & Daughters just signed a contract with Morning Valley Hospital, allowing us access to all of the cadavers that come through their pediatric and maternity wards. Gross. We're excited for the opportunity to work with Morning Valley Hospital, which takes over 100,000 patients and receives $15 million in funding and donations annually. If you're a Marxist, folks, this is what alienation is. Charlie, it's official. I put in my 2 weeks notice. You know how unhappy I am working for Mega Corporation 101. My skills, especially my driving ones, are useful in other professions. I'm not worried about myself. You're too good for this corporate scum. You care about the people you work with and for. I kissed her. Dating a special effects makeup artist, and she's the coolest person I've ever met in my life. She totally loves Ava's possession and was equally freaked out by the possession scenes, but utterly delighted at the idea of a support group for people who have been possessed. Her name is Lily. She's super death positive and isn't freaked out by my work. And isn't too into it like the last dude I saw. Hey, she's bi. She really gets what I mean when I say that working with death and spending so much time thinking about death makes me happier. I'm taking her to Maple Meadows. She's super into roller coasters. I think the idea of sharing cotton candy, or maybe not, I don't want to throw up on the rides, is sickeningly cute. It's kind of in shock from your last email. Do you think you're going to do it? You know you have my support 100% no matter what you decide. Water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Water cremation. Flameless cremation. Resumation. Alkaline hydrolysis. It's an environmentally friendly alternative to traditional cremation. Traditional cremation and burials take a huge toll on the environment. Yeah, the high energy consumption that adds to the greenhouse gas effect. Water cremation is an alternative method for the eco-conscious amongst us. It's a water-based chemical process that uses really strong alkaline water heated up very high to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Works like a sped-up version of natural decomposition. Water gets put through the same water treatment processes as any sewage water at a factory. Uses less energy than traditional cremation. Cool. Home funeral for my wife. Oh, geez, okay. Mr. Grant, regarding the last time we spoke, my daughters and I would still prefer to host a home funeral ourselves and keep my wife here until she's ready to be buried. I'll make sure she's taken care of. I understand your desire to keep your wife at home, but I assure you the best way to honor your wife is through a traditional funeral package. I promise you your wife's funeral with us will be a beautiful, intimate gathering. Standard embalming will allow for everyone to view your wife. Let us take care of the food with our preferred food service. Let us here at Rose and Daughters make this difficult time easier for you. Gross. Kofi Dimka. Charlotte, I see you were not able to convince the Dimka family to take a standard funeral. I had to contact them myself in order to not lose this sale. Please read the enclosed emails for a lesson on how to properly upsell potential customers. I don't want to say we've lost any customers because of your refusal to upsell. This is part of your job. That literally heard that before when I worked at Chase, and they made us upsell credit cards to people calling about their mortgages. So I would get calls from people. I worked in a mortgage call center in 2008. Don't recommend it. Get people calling, panicking because they were losing their house and they were being foreclosed upon, and it was my job to sell them credit cards. I never did it. I tried it one time because I kept getting yelled at for it. Like, all my scores were wonderful, but I never did upselling. So finally I was like, okay, on this one call, I've got good rapport with this guy. I'm going to give it a try. And I said, sir, have you have any interest in applying for a credit card? And the guy was just like, wow, the right hand really doesn't know what the left hand is doing, does it? And hung up on me. And I was like, that's it. Never doing that again. Fuck you, Chase. Deceased family has asked for an open casket funeral. Massage the body to break rigor mortis. Chase, Chad. Eye caps. Glue the eyes shut. I kind of like how the implication is that the idea of venerating the dead isn't itself gross. It's the corporate aspect to it, right? The industry aspect. That's a much easier way to do that. Balming. Mike will take care of her makeup. I know, right? It's both the wedding and the funeral industry that I feel are really, really, really predatory. I mean, there are lots of other industries that are predatory, but why do these things always make me so hungry? Well, I mean, like, weddings and funerals. Funerals are predatory especially because people don't know about how any of this shit works, right? Like, you catch somebody when they're especially not informed about how it works. They're grieving, so they're emotionally compromised, right? Like, mortgages are predatory too, but there's not this, like, urgency to it. Like, the body is literally decaying. You have to choose now. Did we do the right thing? I'm gonna dishonor her memory by letting her rot. Oh, poor folks. Pay your respects. Is that our home? Charlie, dear, I'm so proud of you. I knew there was something special in you when I hired you for Rose and Daughters. Is there anything I can do? Please do not hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to help. I sorely miss you and Matthew's terrible sense of humor. You'll never believe what new job I am working now. Open this email to find out. First game at Hearst Drive, I was told my most important job was in steering. I was sympathizing. I disagree. I'm working as a bus driver, a school bus driver. Pretty sure if I said the most important of my job was in steering, I'd be fired immediately. I don't know what else to tell you. For some reason, I was worried you'd think less of me. I've never been judgmental. Corpses are easier to deal with than children. Congrats on your new business. Hey, it's kind of what I thought they were going with the congratulations from Amy Rose. I know it's been a rough year for you. Stuck through it all like a champ. Have you heard about these green burial pods? When I find a link in my 1 million open tabs, I'll shoot it over to you. Can't believe how quickly this has come up. Thank you for your understanding and for your work. You've made today easier already. See you at 1 p.m. Magnolia Forest. We believe in being transparent about our prices and practices. We're happy to explain all our prices, work within your budget, and hope to make you feel comfortable and confident in your decisions. I like how the main character, she doesn't talk at all, but you kind of get the sense of who she is from, the website and replies to other emails. Home funeral, $1,000, all inclusive. Green burial and service, $22.50 for adults. Infants are buried at no charge. We can provide a 3x3 plot. Direct cremation, $600. At-home funerals and green burials in our natural burial park. Empower families and encourage them to have a closer relationship with death and the dying process. Our natural burial park allows the body to return to the earth and recycle naturally. It's an environmentally sustainable alternative to existing funeral practices. Yeah. It's a very different tone and take from Graveyard Keeper, right? Where Graveyard Keeper is like, these are resources. Like how she very explicitly has her tattoos revealed now, right? This hurts. I thought it'd be easier, but it's not. It hurts so much, but thank you. I got an achievement for talking to everyone. Oh, they're doing a little zoom out here as I walk forward. It's a nice touch. Yeah, tonewhiplash.com. This was a delightful game, Propagable. Thank you for sharing it. It's really good. I like these little experiences where you kind of get a little insight into somebody's day-to-day life. I think the story was handled well. Probably could have stretched it into a 2 or 3 hour game, but it certainly didn't need to be any longer. I mentioned for Helltaker that I was disappointed that the game was so short, but it was because I felt like there was more to explore with the game's core mechanic. But this one, yeah, we got it. That's a bummer, Megaban. I'm sorry. Maybe we'll next time. In memory of. It's nice. Yeah, thanks for sharing it. I think this is in of the many games you've shared on your subblock, Propagable, I think this is near the top, if not the top. That was really, really great. And now for something completely different. Earth Defense Force 4.1. Go cleanse your palate.